Hey guys, today this car came to me with a massive coolant leak. After further investigation, I found it to be this coolant hose that connects to the back of the driver's side of the block, or actually to the hard pipe on the back of the block, to the coolant expansion tank. So I've seen plenty of these fail. What happens is they end up bursting right in this area where it connects to the clamp. And these are about 60 bucks. They're not cheap. Also, the client asked me to change the coolant. He asked me to get out as much of the gunk as possible. So what I'm going to be doing is underneath the block on the driver's side, on the secondary oil pan, there is this bolt, as you can see. Make sure you order one of these too if you're going to change this, because usually you ruin them when you try to get them out. When you pull this out, most likely no coolant's going to come out because it's so corroded in there with junk. Most of all the sediment, this is where it ends up, is where this drains out. I'm also going to be flushing out the radiator, try to get all the sediment and garbage out of the radiator as much as possible. You can't get everything out. Stuff's going to be in the heater core. You could try flushing that out as well, but that's for another day. First, we're going to remove the belly pan, and if you look, there's a screw right in here, a plastic screw that needs to come off. There's usually two of them, one here and one here. This one's missing. And then we need to do it on the other side as well. And you can see this one's missing as well, so we'll just get this one. There we go. Here's the belly pan, and we need to remove that to drain the coolant. Okay, so now we're underneath the car, and if you look right up in there, you could see the drain bolt that needs to come out. All right, so let's try to get that sucker out. It could be a pain in the butt. That's why I always have you guys order a new bolt, because sometimes you ruin the darn thing just trying to get it out. Okay guys, I'm gonna try to get this bolt out. As you can see, it's right there, like I was showing you guys before. I'm going to use a 6mm rounded hex extension, and hopefully we can get it. Let's go. Wow, that one came out pretty easy. Don't forget to have your drain pan, because it's going to leak everywhere. It may leak everywhere. It just depends. If it's full of sediment, it's not going to leak, and you're going to have to actually get in there and try cleaning it out a little bit, either with like a air compressor, blown air, or a small screwdriver or something, until it starts leaking. As you can see, it is dripping a little bit, but not a whole lot. So I'll have to get up in there and clean it up. Now I'll try blowing it with compressed air. If I could get it up in there. And I made it rain. Okay guys, next I'm going to take the coolant reservoir off.
because we had that leak behind here, I need to take off the coolant reservoir. I'm also going to clean it out. It looks pretty nasty. There are 3 screws over here, that Phillips screws that are over here that come out. Also, don't forget, there's a plug back here that you need to take out. Sometimes it'll be a pain. Usually they're broken. They're actually very delicate. This one just comes off because the clip is broken on it. Thing is pretty nasty inside.
Okay, so next I'm going to be removing this bad hose that goes to the back of the block here. Okay, so next we will take this little clip out. I don't know if these pliers will fit. Might have to use some needle nose. Oh, got it out. Okay, so as you can see, this hose has a hole in it right there. That was causing that major leak. Under pressure, this is probably gushing pretty bad. So, I've seen a lot of these that do that. This is not the first. I've actually seen them worse than this as well. But as you can see, it starts to bubble and then it gets real soft and it comes right apart. It's not good. And again, these hoses are 60 bucks. They're not cheap. Go ahead and clean up this area around here. You guys will hear this make noise. There is a check valve in here. If you go, but then if you try to blow the other way, you can't get through. It doesn't taste very good either. Make sure you get the hose seated all the way down. As you can see, I've made a big mess of things. If you look down here, I mean, I got water and coolant and crap everywhere. It's mostly rust now. I've cycled through and I've gone through, made sure that the water comes out clear now. I'll clean up here and then wipe things down, get it nice and clean, and then I'll show you guys how to insert the bolt back. Also, I cleaned the radiator, flushed that out. I just pulled the upper radiator hose and the lower radiator hose and ran water through it until it was clean and clear. I got this area all cleaned up. You know, I made a big mess of it. So I did get the bolt, the new one in. I put some anti-seize on it because it is going in a cast iron block. That will help it come out if it needs to come out in the future. I also put a dab of synthetic grease on the O-ring to help it seal up a little bit better. So let's go ahead and put it in. Okay, and then I'm going to put it in there with 20 Newton meters of torque. And that looks great. And there you go. I mean, there's going to be some residual water falling, but other than that, it looks good. Before I put the belly pan on, you just probably want to make sure when we fill it with coolant, that you have no leaks or it's not leaking from that drain bolt. So before I do anything, I'll fill it with coolant, bleed it. If you don't have the airlift tool, then you will need to bleed or burp the system because you're going to have a lot of air in it. But once we know that there's no leaks after running the car for a little bit, I'll go ahead and put the belly pan on. Okay, everything's back together. I'm going to go ahead and put the reservoir in. It's a little dirty. I mean, could you use a new one? Yeah, but at 90 bucks or 100 bucks, why would you? Don't forget this sensor, which is very, very delicate, this plug. And then the drain goes in between the heat shield and the chassis. Again, I didn't tighten this one down here until I knew where it needed to be. Alright, so I got most of it set up. I got my coolant, which is about 50-50, maybe could be 60-40, but it's about 50-50. Here's my airlift. I will stick it in here. We don't want to over tighten it. I'll have a little ball over here just in case. Then we add compressed air. And now remember, it'll go to about 25, 26, maybe 27 psi of vacuum, and it should hold it. Otherwise, if it doesn't, there's a leak. Alright, so it looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and connect this. And that's it. Fairly simple with these nice tools. Cap is on, coolant cap is on. Everything's done. Now I'm going to start the car just to make sure there's no leaks. With the airlift system, if you didn't lose any vacuum pressure, you shouldn't have any leaks, but you always want to